is a presentation of Northeast Streaming Sports.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to another Philly Sports Guy show. Today is Tuesday, September 6th. I wanted to make sure I got that one right. Yesterday was the 5th. Happy Labor Day or happy belated Labor Day. Happy kids go back to school day. Everybody is officially back in school. Welcome to the first week of NFL football. That starts on Thursday. Lots of stuff going on. Let's go to the bad news initially. The Phillies went out west, and I know we haven't spoken in a little while, but since we went back out west, they ain't won a game since. It's been a really bad time out there. They lose 2 of 3 to the Diamondbacks, which again, it seems like they have a real difficult time out in Arizona. And then we go see an old friend, Gabe Kapler, and he sweeps us. That was ugly. That was ugly. Obviously, game one was really tough, and then game two and game three, they walked off game three. Game two was, yeah, again, the bats just weren't around. I don't know what's going on with the Phillies. They looked a little lethargic and tired just in general. That they did not want to be out there out west. They come back home. They take the holiday off. They get to have like some barbecue and stuff like that. And it even looks like today, although I do not expect that they're going to wind up playing today because the weather is going to play the biggest part in that. It's not supposed to stop raining all day long and into the night. So I would be surprised if they get this one off either on time or even at all today. They may wind up doing a double header here in the next two to be able to get it in properly. But it's possible that the day of rest will have helped them and maybe get them back on track here and they can find the bats against the team who's not doing very well right now. The Marlins are having a rough go of it themselves. They've lost, I believe it's 9 in a row. No, I'm sorry, 7 in a row, but they've only won 1 in their last 10 games. The Phillies themselves have lost 3 in a row and have not done really well since they went out there. I think that they are 1 in their last 7. Yes, I think they won 1 game in their last 7. They have won 4 of their last 10, so they were on a little bit of a hot streak before they went out west, but West kind of cooled them down some. However, they are still tied right now with the Padres, who haven't been playing very well. And 2 games, both of those teams are 2 games above the Brewers, who also have not been playing very well at all. So they have been able to keep everything on track and ready to go. I believe they're 11 games down or they could be 10 games or 11 games. It doesn't matter for the division. I don't think it's going to matter at all. We don't really seem to be able to make a run there in that regards. But it's we are going to begin making the playoffs, and I think that there's no chance that any of the teams, even San Francisco or let's see. I think the Diamondbacks are starting to fight their way back into it as well. Are still a way off. I think that they're 4 games below 500 and 3 games below 500. So I don't think that they're going to have a chance to really make a run at the wild card. Really going to be if the Brewers can catch up. And like I said, the Brewers have not been playing very well at all. They did win yesterday for the first time in a little while, but the Padres could have gained some ground in that number 2 spot, but they have not been playing very well at all either. So it's everybody right now is losing. Uh, so I guess if the Phillies chose a time to have a letdown, this was the perfect time because everybody's letting everybody down. So it's yeah, the Brewers I think have won 1 in their last 5 games. The Padres have won 1 in the last few games. So I feel that the Phillies are again just keeping pace with everybody else, and the fact that everybody else is losing works out in our benefit as well. But right now, the Phillies hold the number 2 wild card spot because we do have the tiebreaker against the Padres themselves. But that will possibly change because we're in a virtual tie with them in general. Or actually, I think it's an actual tie. Let me just make sure that I am speaking intelligently on this because they may have actually. Nope, it's a virtual tie. So they have played 2 more games than us in total. So we are ahead of them right now. And like I said, both us and the Padres are 2 games back on the Brewers. 7.5 games back are the Giants, and 8 games back in total are the Diamondbacks. So nothing is official, but it could wind up being a little more. And then, of course, the Phillies are 11.5 games back on the division. I think the division is just about over. However, the Braves are only 1 game back on the Mets, so it's going to be interesting to see how that all plays out here in the next upcoming weeks. Uh, uh, yeah, I heard that they called him up. I don't know much about him at all. His Gontyre. Yeah, we'll see how he really plays out, but I don't expect him to be a very big addition to this team right now. They need to get the bats working from the guys that absolutely need it, and my expectation is that they'll be able to do that going forward. What just happened there? Somehow I lost my Roku channel, and I don't know why that is, but let's get that back up and running again. And bang, sorry about that. I just want to get this. Not sure why it dumped off, but it'll be back on again here in just a second. Anyway, so if you're following me on Roku, I apologize. Everybody else, you guys have seen me just going on as normal. Tonight, if they do happen to play, it will be Jesus Luzardo, who is 3-6 with a 3.44 ERA, 73 strikeouts and 65.1 innings pitched, going up against Aaron Nola, who is 9-11, and he's got 190 strikeouts. I think he is 3rd or 4th in the NL on strikeouts. He's got a 3.43 ERA and 170.2 innings pitched. Castellanos is still out with this oblique. Right, I can imagine that's why they called him up there. So he gets sent to the IL. He's a 10-day IL, so we'll see if that happens. The rest could probably help him out pretty good. As he's been kind of struggling a little bit. We need him to come on strong here. So I'm hoping maybe this rest will start to liven things up for him. I want him to have a good September because if he has a really good September and October, it's going to make everybody feel a lot better moving forward here. So that's really going on with the Phillies. Again, we will see if they play today. They are heavy favorites to win this game. I think that they were minus 220 going with that. That's only because I said the Marlins are in a 7-game losing streak. The Phillies are on a 3-game losing streak. So something's going to give today. hopefully it'll be the Phillies bats if they wind up playing. If not, I'm sure that this game will happen tomorrow as well, just to be able to get it in because there's not many more games left against the Marlins in total. Yep, I know that Wheeler is also pushed back as Chris has given me some updates about the Phillies. I don't expect Wheeler to come back and pitch until he's going to have one more start before the end of the season. That's given that the Phillies are still in the wild card spot. If by chance that starts to get a little bit smaller, if San Francisco starts to make a run here and they wind up getting within like 3 games, I think Wheeler will wind up back in the rotation. Right now, they're doing this just to be able to, get him rested up for the playoffs. They need him to be able to make a big run, and they're not going to be able to rely on their bullpen. So these guys, obviously every time right now that they like to use 2 innings out of one of their relievers, it backfires on them because there's not many relievers right now that he could trust. Sir Anthony Dominguez is still out, I believe. I think he's going to be out for another, 10, 15 days? I'm not exactly sure. Let me make sure. He's still on the 15-day. They haven't pushed him back. They were talking about Zach Eflin being able to come back. I don't know if that's really going to be the case. I know that he's coming down to the end of that 60-day, and everybody else is like the 10-day. They got the 15-day on the forearm. Newble's out for the rest of the season. So we're going to see if Eflin can make it back, and if he can make it back, how effective he's going to be. I wouldn't mind seeing him in the bullpen. That would actually start to solidify, and he could be like a 6th and 7th inning guy if that works out really well. But I don't mind putting Zach Wheeler to rest right now until we get back, until we get close to playoffs and we start to get him fired up. Like I said, I think he's only going to need one start to get himself ready, and then he would likely be game 1 playoff series between either us and St. Louis or us and Atlanta going forward. My hope is that we wind up with the number 3 wild card and we wind up playing St. Louis, because then if we play in St. Louis, I think that we have a good chance of beating St. Louis. I don't think St. Louis is as strong as everybody thinks they are. And then we would go out to LA, and for some reason or another, the Phillies love batting in LA. So it's possible that things could go crazy and things could fall right for the Phillies, but we still have some ways to go yet. So let's figure that out as we get closer to the time. In the meantime, there's a lot more stuff to talk about because, like I said, we had a day off yesterday. Even though the Phillies had a day off, there was no Philadelphia sports yesterday. There's still a lot to talk about from this weekend and upcoming as well. Plus some news in the NFL that might upset some Phillies fans or some Eagles fans. But we'll find out exactly how everybody feels about that in just a few minutes. But let's break for these commercial messages, and we'll be back right after this. especially right now without LeBron, Lakers are struggling.
Let me tell you about a team I hate, all right? I know the Dallas Cowboy fan is here, so I had to make sure he knew how much I hate this team.
I'm ready.
I've often said that the people who run baseball, they try very hard to ruin it.
I'm from Brooklyn. I don't have a problem saying it to his face. Oh, from Brooklyn. Hey, guys, any?
And we are back. And let me also talk about something that I'm going to be involved in here in the next week or so. I am going to be in a competition called the Bee's Knees. It's a culinary competition where I am going to be paired up with a celebrity chef. It could be Tony Luke, which I kind of think it might be, just because they since he was one of the stars that they put out in Invincible. Along with a Philly sports guy. But there's going to be a number of people out there. We're going to be doing this here. This is to benefit the Pennsylvania. Who are they? It's a Pennsylvania Department of Agriculture here. It is a benefit. It's a Roaring 20s, and it's a cooking event. We are asking people to come up and just support us. Like I said, it's happening at the Stroud Center in the Navy Yard at the URBN campus. It's going to be a lot of fun. Please come out and support us for this great cause. It's going to be a lot of fun out there. And you get to see the Philly sports guy cooking some food up for everybody that shows up in attendance. It's going to be a lot of fun there. Also, let everybody know tonight, Tuesday night, where I like to be. I like to be in my living room. My living room is Dolan's Bar. And yes, we're going to be hosting Tuesday night trivia. If you want to get into a trivia game where we give out great prizes, we have some auction items to be able to auction off as well. Some sports memorabilia, things that you may have not been able to get at the games. We come and we give it away there. It's going to be a lot of fun. So tonight at 8 o'clock at Dolan's Bar in downtown Ridley Park, please come on out and find us. I know that the one bridge is out. I know that somebody with that bridge out, but you could still get there, and we have parking in the back. It's going to be a lot of fun. Come on out and join us for Tuesday night trivia with the Philly sports guy. Back to the business of being in the business. There was a signing that everybody's a little up in arms about. The truth of the matter is I didn't really care much. I don't think that it's a big deal for us. It actually probably works out in our benefit. However, the Dallas Cowboys have signed to their roster Jason Peters. And Tyron Smith has been sidelined, and they've been looking for somebody to possibly fill in that void. Jason Peters was who they chose. Now, Jason Peters is 41 years old. He is, 5 years removed from the Eagles, 4 years removed from the Eagles, the debacle that he did where he needed more money to be able to play tackle, and then he stunk up the joint. I feel like Jason Peters is 3 years removed from where he should have retired. Can't tell a man when he's done playing football. So he's still out there. He's still playing at 41 years old. And, of course, now he is a Dallas Cowboy. I find that this is going to be really interesting to see how he is able to do. I don't think that it's a very good signing for the Cowboys. I think that the game has passed Jason Peters by. However, we're going to find out here right before my birthday on July 16th. October 16th. We are going to see it because that's Dallas week, 4 days before my birthday, my 50th birthday. And what a birthday press could give me by spanking the Dallas Cowboys. And the fact that he's injury prone, as I'm getting some information, as Chris is saying here, the fact that he's injury prone, I almost don't want him to get hurt because I think that he is now a turnstile. He doesn't anymore. And my thought is that he could have done a lot of different things. he would have been able to retire. I think he should be an offensive line coach. I'm sure that the Eagles would be more than happy to pick him up. But every year that he plays just takes a little bit away from the fact that he should be a first ballot Hall of Famer. I don't think he's going to make it in the first ballot anymore because of the last 4 years of the way he's played. He's just slowly been deteriorating, and he's just not been good at all. Chicago barely used him last year. And, even as bad as Chicago was, I mean, that guy was running for his life. Now Dak is going to be running for his life here too. I just don't think Jason Peters should be in the NFL anymore. And it's a shame because it's going to ruin a very good career the longer he happens to stay in. So I wish him kind of luck. Really not really, because he's with the Cowboys now. Everybody's saying, oh, I lost all this respect for him. Hey, listen, getting a paycheck is what you need to do. And I don't begrudge anybody for making any money. That being said, I think that he's going to let up a lot of sacks, and Dak better be on the run, running away from his side of the line, because it's just not going to go well for them this year. That being said, football is about to happen. Here we go. We start off on Thursday, so literally 2 days away. I mean, today's Tuesday, so 2 more days we are in the NFL, and the Bills take on the Rams. We take on Detroit, coming up here in Detroit, 1 o'clock Sunday, September 11th. And ultimately, the game right now, the Eagles are a 4-point favorite, and the over-under being 48.5. If you are a betting person, and I am not, I would definitely the Eagles win this game handily. I think that 4 points is just not enough. I think that the Eagles win this one by a touchdown, maybe even 13 points. So I don't know that you would even need to tease this at all. I think that this is just a good starting point for the Eagles. And although Detroit has gotten better, and they have bolstered up that defensive line, Hutchinson is going to be there, and he's going to be given a good test to the Eagles' offensive line starting off. I still believe that the Eagles win this one handily. I have this score. I'm going to give that to you. I'm going to give that to you tomorrow, since we have one more show here for this week before I start to do, we go into the Mac and Jack show, which is what I've been hosting on Thursdays and Fridays. But ultimately, I'm going to give my thing tomorrow, but right now I have the Eagles winning this one handily. As of right now, guys who are going to be hurt for this, Jason Kelce is still questionable. Javon Hargrave is also questionable. Greg Ward is listed on this team still. He is going to be out. Andre Dillard is out. Toth is out. Epps is questionable. And Dickerson is also questionable. He's going to be playing guard in that. So I really, Dickerson's the one guy that I'm really most concerned about. Everybody else, Kelce, I think Kelce's going to start. There's not going to be any question in my mind. Kelce is going to anchor this line completely. That being said, I'm excited for Sunday. I am going to be leaving here on Thursday morning. We're going to be heading up to Detroit to go take care of business, and I'm going to be up there for the weekend. So if you are looking for something to do and trying to find out where I'm at, get a hold of me on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter and find out where the Philly Sports Guy is, and I will let you know, because we're going to be hanging out and having a great time all. It's going to be a lot of fun up in Detroit. I used to live up there for a little while. Detroit is a fun town if you go to the right spot. So come find me. As I can imagine, Philly Eagles fans travel well, and this should be no doubt in my mind that we're going to be able to do that and have a great time. That being said, there was another team that happened to play this past weekend and that won. They won the game. They did not lose, and it was the Philadelphia Union. The Philadelphia Union win their game against the New York Red Bulls, who are third in our conference, 2-0. And it was actually a really good game. Obviously, we got a goal from Jure and Gazdag, who is now, I think he's at 18 goals for the season. He's one of the goal leaders in the MLS. And right now, again, another clean sheet from Blake. Blake is the goaltender there. They have just been doing all the things they need to do. In the last 3 games for the Union, they have not let up a goal at all. Let's see. It was 2-0. let's take a look at how they did the last. They did let up 1 goal. So they have outscored in the last 4 games, they have outscored their opponents 18-1. 18-1, which is really an amazing feat. They are ahead of everybody else in goals scored by over 40 points. I think they have 15 points above the guy who's number 2 in there. They have tied for the Supporter Shield, which is for the best record or the most points in Major League Soccer. They are tied right now with LAFC. The Union, if you guys are not in tune with soccer and not in tune with the Union, get yourself in tune. They're going to be the next team to win a championship. Their playoffs start right in the middle of October, right towards the end of October, and they go into the MLS Cup, which should happen in November, should probably be in Philadelphia, and it's going to be a lot of fun to watch this team. And this team is going to win their first MLS Cup this year. I ain't jinxing them because they can't be jinxed. This team is playing great soccer. They have a great team. They should have won it last year, and if COVID kind of stopped that from them, this year there is not going to be those excuses. They are going to be able to play in full here, and we're going to be able to take home our first piece of hardware ever for this franchise. It has been, like I said, watching these games have been amazing. The next game that they have is this Saturday. It is here. It's here against Orlando at 7:30. So you can get yourselves ready for Sunday football by checking out Saturday soccer game. Like I said, go out to Chester. It is a great stadium out there. They watch all the cars, so you don't have to worry about anything fugazi happening. They really do take care of you out there. It's a fantastic stadium, and it is a great product on the field. And it's only 2 hours worth of time, and you'll see them score a lot of goals. Orlando is just not very good in general. They are 5th in the Eastern Conference. They're also on a 4-game winning streak as well, so they're trying to get themselves into the playoff seeding. But right now, Philadelphia is just on a roll, and I can't imagine them giving up any losses anytime real soon. So if you have the opportunity and the availability, go out to Chester and watch the Philadelphia Union take on Orlando. It should be a fun game to watch. Go Union. Doop. Other than that, like this Tuesday tonight, we're going to be at Dolan's and in Ridley Park for Tuesday night trivia. So come find me. Like I says, I have auction items to give away. The Phillies gave away rings not too long ago for Mike Schmidt, and we are going to be auctioning one of those rings off today. These are great rings. The replica 1980 rings, I was able to give a couple. All of this money goes to charity for the Eagles Autism Foundation. So please come on out. I have a couple of things to be able to auction off today, all for charity. And as I'm talking about charity, I also want to mention to everybody the first ever PSG PSG Charity Invitational, although everybody's invited, is going to be happening in Arizona. We're going to be going to play putt-putt golf in Arizona. All the details will be following behind here within the next day or so, but you could come out. If you're going to Arizona to go watch the Eagles take on the Cardinals, you can get yourself to where I'm going to be. We're going to be doing the first ever PSG Invitational, all to support the Eagles Autism Foundation. It's going to be a lot of fun with trophies given away and all this other stuff. It's going to be a blast. So please come on out and support the Eagles Autism Foundation by coming to the first annual PSG Invitational. And like I said, if you haven't gotten your invitation in the mail, don't worry about it. You're invited. Come on out and make it happen. In the meantime, guys, I appreciate everybody following me for this half hour. I'll be quick. I figure you guys don't want to hear me talk for over an hour about this, so that's why I do only a half-hour show. But in the meantime, I will be back tomorrow to talk whether the Phillies play or not. As we get closer to the NFL season, we'll see things happening there and everything else I do with Philadelphia. Appreciate it, guys. Thank you very much. And as always, go Philly.